My video for February the 1st, 2018 is entitled Trump's State of the Union Speech. I stayed up later than I normally do just to watch Donald Trump give his State of the Union message after his first year in the office as POTUS. I don't think I've ever paid any attention before to a president's speech, but there were some things I was looking for in this one. Yes, many of us have expectations of real change. I was impressed that he used many regular Americans as examples of virtues as he sees it. I thought that was good. However, I was and am concerned with his proclamation in regard to Jerusalem, which of course is not new, just reiterated. I was disappointed that he did not even mention the corruption of previous politicians, including pedophilia in high places. He was, I'm sure, trying to build bridges of cooperation on both sides of the aisle. But how do we cooperate with such evil that has negatively impacted human life on the planet? It needs to be purged, not placated. Anyway, I sat with rapt attention for the entire hour and a half. Will he play a role in draining the swamp? If so, I applaud that effort, but he did not even mention it. Yes, and by the way, I am recording this video when Aristo's video is the current one, so this is actually the one for February the 1st, as I said in the beginning, although I'm recording it on January the 31st, when Aristo's speech, or when Aristo's message is the one that's current. I did sit with rapt attention, and I was looking for some specific things. As I said in the blurb, I did not, nor do I normally watch political speeches because I don't find them relevant to what's happening in the world. Politicians, to me, are most often classified just simply as liars, and of course many of them are lawyers or bar attorneys, which is a criminal operation from my viewpoint. It's just, if you don't understand that, you probably wouldn't even be listening to this anyway. But our nation, and in fact the entire world, is run by demonic elements. And if we're going to drain the swamp, we have to address these issues. We cannot brush them under the rug and pretend it doesn't exist. We cannot just make examples and point out good examples of people who are doing things that seem to be the right thing to do. He honored in his speech, of course, some military people that have made great sacrifices, and yet many people in the military are terrorists because they've gone into foreign countries not trying to drain the swamp. You have to understand that the swamp is something that these creatures from Jekyll Island and the political establishment they've created the swamp that needs to be drained. They're part of the swamp. In fact, you might say they are the swamp. And Trump did not address any of that. Now, perhaps that was not the speech or the time or the place to do so. I'm sure that's how he sees it. And he is, as I said, trying to build bridges of cooperation. But it's not going to be easy, folks, to build bridges of cooperation with people who have so much dirt in their closets that has been hidden for generations, actually, because the elite have done horrendous things to humanity. They've not been humanity's friend. They are humanity's enemy. And I'm not trying to polarize anything. I'm trying to get people to see that we cannot fix the problem by ignoring it. We have to face it head on, and we have to tell the truth. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And the truth is an uncomfortable truth. Whether whether it is, as some people say, just an illusion or not, it's the reality that we have to deal with in our human life, like it or not. And I'm still wanting to see a bridge built that will take us from where we have been, namely enslaved by charlatans who have assumed power over humanity, so that humanity can be truly uplifted and truly set free. That can't happen without major changes being made, even in our perspectives. We have to recognize and acknowledge the problems. And the problems go deep into the human psyche and run very deep in human culture. And it needs to be fixed. That's what I live for. I don't live to see the United States become a great nation, unless all nations become a great nation. And he again pointed to China and Russia as enemies. That's just not the way to go. And again, he made reference to North Korea. Now, I'm not a fan of Kim, whatever his name is, the leaders of North Korea. I'm not a fan of that. But I thought it was interesting that North Korea and South Korea were getting along and sending a united Korean team to the Olympics. I thought that was a neat idea. There's lots of things that are neat ideas, good ideas that might build bridges and help us grow. Even the RV, the monetary system, if that could be changed at least on an interim basis to something that is gold backed and silver backed and commodity backed, it would be a good thing. But again, he's talking about he talked about clean oil or clean coal. That's what it was. Clean coal. Burning coal is not clean unless there's technologies with it that I'm still not aware of. It's a dirty way of creating, generating power. And we have unlimited power from the sun and from the environment if we would tap into that, but that's free energy. That's what Tesla was trying to do, and why he was not promoted, and he was actually debilitated and had a horrible life, though he was one of the forerunners in bringing us alternatives to how we power the world that we live in. There are so many things that were left out, but of course it was only an hour and a half speech, and I'd say 20% of the speech was applause. It was not even the speech. It was the audience. He'd make a few statements, and the audience would sometimes stand, but there was lots of applause going on. But again, as I looked at the audience, I wondered to myself, how many of these people are involved in the corruption and the pedophilia and the crimes against humanity? These are the things that we have to actually address, regardless of what the politicians say, regardless of what the pundits in the mainstream media and even some alternative media say. We have to address the issues if we're going to be liberated and set free from the bondage of the corruption. And that's what it is. It's corruption. Everything is inverted, turned inside out and upside down, as I've said so many times. We have to stop calling evil good and turn the evil around so that we can live free and that we can live lovingly. Now we have a ways to go before we can love one another, but we at least need to make that a realistic goal, that something that needs to be achieved. Anyway, thank you folks for listening, and namaste.